Hey, welcome to Simply Neural Stitches, and it's time for my next floss tube, and it's going to be a little bit of a different video today, but hopefully you can still see the projects that I've worked on. Right, so this is floss tube 48, and today is Monday the 2nd of February 2026. We're in February already, oh my goodness. So I'm going to run through the whips that I worked on in the last 2 weeks. There was 15 of them, and at the end I'm going to talk about a little plan that I have for February for the Winter Olympics, and also give you my January stats. So in no particular order, this is the first whip, Angel Kisses, and this one, just trying to find it on my list, I worked on once. This is what it's going to look like when it is complete. Now this is an old Dimensions kit, and sorry if there is a glare, not much I can do about it, but that's the Dimensions kit. Hope I'm looking at my camera and I don't think there's a glare, so fingers crossed we're okay. Anyway, I worked on this once and did 285 stitches, but they were all half stitches, so double that, and that's what I did. And I worked on up here, so that sort of, you can see the shape of a wing there, so I put that wing in. I just need to back stitch it, and then I'm doing all the half stitches around it. So, oh my god, oh, why is it whenever I do a video I start yawning? So there's a whole lot of back stitching here, this wing, this guy. There is still so much more to do on this one. Oh my gosh, it's never ending, but we'll get there in the end, I guess. So that is Angel Kisses, and I stitched on that for Flosstube Frenzy, and I've chosen this one for the Stitch and Mummy, and she's a weekly poster, so whenever she posts a video it gets 100 stitches into it. And well, actually I add to the tally 100 stitches. If she stitches on a whip the same as the current whip that I have, then that's an extra 50 stitches. And I am way far behind on my Flosstube Frenzy, and I think I've probably got like 2,500 stitches I need to put into that. So, you know, oh dear. Alright, so the next one is Crinoline Lady, and I really should have got my picture sorted. Wait a minute. I don't want to show you the chart. So I'm a bit discombobulated today, if you can't tell. Oh my goodness, let me find a picture of the chart. Maybe it's on the back of this. So with this one, because it's in a magazine, I printed out, I tore out the pages from the magazine and then tried to use them to stitch off, but then they're a really shiny material and it was really hard. So then I photocopied them, but then I couldn't get a clean photocopy that didn't cut bits off here and there. So I've gone back to using the actual glossy page from the magazine. So anyway, this is Crinoline Lady. It is from issue 86 of Gold, Cross Stitch Gold magazine, the one with the big poppy on the front. So it's out of this magazine, and the other one I wanted to do out of here was this one, Edwardian Elegance. I love that time, the 1800s and stuff, Downton Abbey times, Victorian times. I love them. Anyway, so that is Crinoline Lady, and this was started yonks ago for one of the challenges in Magazine Monthly Cross Stitch Challenge Facebook group. It's a mouthful. Anyway, I worked on her once and did 315 stitches, and I worked here on the floral border. So she's all stitched in the middle. I think the flowers and that little bit across there are all done as well. So now, oh my goodness, now I just need to do all this big floral border around here. So, oh my goodness. So I've done here. Obviously I haven't done the back stitching on the purple flowers, but I did that because that is just a back stitch flower, so I did that one. And then this here is this bit coming up here. So it's going to take a while, I think, to do this border. I'm not going to leave it out because it's really stunning and helps make the piece. So did I tell you how many I did? 315 stitches. And I did that for one of the Whip Warriors games, Stitch and Seek, for the month of January, and I'm pretty sure it was for the prompt of grass, because there's grass in that middle section next to her. So that was that one. Sorry about today's video. Just don't have it in me to face the camera today, but you know, sometimes that happens. Alright, this one, Amy Stewart, A Stitching Shelf. This is from Heaven and Earth Designs. It is a full coverage. Oh, I didn't tell you what I'm doing the others on. Angel Kisses is a kit, so whatever fabric was in the kit. Crinoline Lady is 25 count, 2/2. This one is 1/1 on 25 count, full cross. And I stitched on this twice and got a total of 662 stitches. Oops. And that's the whole thing that I've done. Now this is going to be massive because I'm doing this actually not on 25 count. It's 18 count aider. So it's going to be very big. But that's the whole thing. And I stitched over here in this bit here. 662 stitches. And I'm 3.5% complete. So when you look here, I am, that book there is that one there. And I'm coming across now, and I think this grey you can see is the start of this window here. So I stitch sort of typewriter method like Stitch and Mummy does. I'll pick a symbol and work it for as long as the thread goes, and normally I pick like top row, and then I work all the way across the top row picking symbols as I go until the top row is complete. Then I'll come down and do the second row. And then when I was stitching on this one towards the end of the last session, I just picked whatever symbols were in this little section up here and then worked them out. So sometimes I'll focus on a column. I try not to do that. I try to go across the row, but sometimes it'll be like, oh well, I'm just going to do that one there because it's like a ninja stitch by itself, and then I'll do that one and then follow that thread across. Other times I'll go, well, these are the two obvious ones next to be stitched because that's the second row down and they're the next ones that need to be done, so I'll do them and then work the thread in. So, and then sometimes I'll get like an area like this that's filling in quite quickly, and I'll go, no, actually I'm going to just work on this section. But I don't do that as often because I'm always scared that I've counted wrong and then something's going to be off really bad. So back here at the start of this one, there's something really off here in these flowers, but in the overall scheme of a large piece like this, I really don't think it's going to be noticeable. So that's why I didn't restart or unpick, and it's so hard to unpick such little stitches. So I've learnt from that mistake to not go too far and then count off those stitches. So if I do go far like this, I normally don't count off them, because if that's wrong, then all of this is going to be wrong. And sometimes you can get away with it, sometimes you can't. So I worked on this one for Stitch and Seek in Whip Warriors, and I can't remember what it was for. I think it was a candle. There's a candle down here on the mantelpiece, and I think the prompt was candle. I also worked on it for Down Under Divas, and I can't remember what that was for. And also Fandom. Who knows? I sort of wrote some notes as to what I was doing. Oh, that doesn't need to be so small. It's a big bag. So that one's at 3.5%. So that's reassuring to know that it's not like, you know, under 1%. Still, 3.5. That's a long way to go. Next we have Simplicity. So these are actually in the bag in the order, reverse order of what I worked on them. So sorry about that thing making a noise. Right, this is a Dimensions kit. And this one I'm doing in honor of my late mother because she loved to sew. So I thought, okay, let's do this. And I worked on it once for 206 stitches, and I'm pretty sure most of them were oops, I lost my magnet. Most of them were half stitches down here, and then and over here, and then I did this little bit here and then worked up here to get my stitch count I needed for something. And I worked on that for the Great British Bake Off. I can't remember, someone's first in technical, last in technical, who knows. But that is where that is at the moment. So the bottom half, except for back stitching, is done, and this is now the top half of the piece. So basically the halfway line is, where am I at? Just above her feet. So that's the like the halfway line there. Yeah. So that is that one. I'm hoping, I've got a lot of projects that are sort of at the stage where I'm going to get them finished this year. If I consistently use them for like temperature stitching or challenges like the Great British Bake Off or things like that, then they're going to get worked on consistently and then hopefully be finished this year. Alright, next one. I call Benji because that's the name of my dog, and he's a Cavalier King Charles. And this is by Artisy, and it's called Cavalier King Charles. Sorry, just need a drink. This is a full coverage, and I'm pretty sure I restarted this one. Yep, whoops, okay. Thread drop, I can't talk. Thread drops don't need to come out. Right, so I had initially been stitching it on this, right, so this is where I was. That's 25 count, 2 over 2, using 2 strands of floss. And I do know there was some sort of error up here, and I kept going, and I went, that's like really big. Look how size that fabric. I went, no, I can actually do that 1 over 1. So I've restarted it, and that is where I got to. And that's, would you believe, that is nearly the same amount of stitches. I'm pretty much done the same amount as there, but look at the size difference. Like, that is amazing. So I worked on this twice and did 618 stitches, and it's at 3.09%. So yeah, I will recycle this fabric, use it for another project. I have lots of full coverages on my list I want to start, so it won't go to waste, definitely. Just got to find something that'll fit on it because it's not the hugest piece for full coverages. Yeah, so this one I worked on for the Great British Bake Off. I have a feeling this person got eliminated because this is the first time it's been called. Maybe, I don't know, I can't remember. And I also worked on it for the birthday pop-up in Whip Warriors, and I think we need a full coverage piece, so that's what I used it for in that one. But that's 3%, so it's not a big piece. So I'm hoping that won't be around for donkey's years. We shall see, because I have big plans for all my full coverages. Anyway, so that's Benji. Well, that's what I call Benji. Next we have a dimensions kit called I Love Gardening. And this is what it's going to look like when it is finished. This is an old one. I remember buying this at a craft fair. If you're from Sydney, you'll remember them at Rosehill Racecourse. And I think there used to be one that was all like fabrics and fabric crafts and stuff, and then one that was all paper crafts. So I used to go to both, but obviously this is the cross-stitching fabric type one. Yeah, so I love gardening. And where's the project? Oh, here it is. Okay, so this is kit fabric. It's an Ada cream aider of some sort. And I worked on this once for 200 stitches. So I put in this up here, the love heart, and down here, and then some of the fill-in of the leaves are in here as well. So 200 stitches on that one. There's quite a bit in these ones. It's very involved. So I don't know. But this one's good for prompts. So there's like a gardening fork and a trowel and a watering can and a sign and a love heart and another love heart, and obviously flowers and a basket and a shelf. So lots of things in for prompts. So that's why I like ones like this with lots of stuff in them. Alright, so that's all I got to say about that one. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm rushing because it is late. It's like 20 to 6 and the family were wanting dinner. I went, I gotta go do this video. I should have done it hours ago. So you'll have to wait. You'll have to be hungry just a little bit longer. Alright. Okay, next. We have another kit, Teacup Birds by Dimensions. And that is what it's going to look like when it is complete. And this is done on 14 count Aida. This one's really cute. So I did this once and put 213 stitches. So I started in the middle, on the middle teapot, and I basically worked on this bird here, greenery down here, and you can see that's where the page break is on the pattern. So half the pattern is on one sheet of paper, half the pattern's on the other. So that was the end of that paper pattern, so that's where I stopped. So I got half a birdie, and there's another little one here, a baby one there. So I'm like half, not even halfway, I'm sort of like down there on that bird. Yeah. Obviously no back stitching. I keep saying I'm going to do back stitching as I go, but I never do. So back stitching's all going to get done at the end. Did I tell you how many I did on that one? Probably not. Alright, once, 213 stitches. I used it for Whip Go. It was a Whip Go call in January, and also it was my Deck of Whips project for whatever week it was. This is, I don't know, it's got no tag on it. Oh dear. Oh, okay, I know. This is a new start. Ooh. Which is the new, goes that way. Oh, I got no needle. Yes, I know. Goes that way. Usually I put a needle minder top left so I know, but I'm going to have to find my cross on the fabric so I know. Yes. Okay. Right. This is a new start. And let me just grab my booklet. Wait a minute. Oh, it's here with me. Wait a minute. I don't know which one it's in. Hum-de-dum-de-dum. I'm not that organised, am I? Obviously. Talk amongst yourselves or just do some stitching. Alright, so it is Artisy Map of Australia. So I started this on, sorry for the glare, there we go. I started this on Australia Day because I wanted to start something Australian. This is full coverage. Well, the white is not, that's just all the map. It is 396 wide by 368 high, and I'm doing it on a piece of 25 count even weave 1/1, and that is where I got to. And I worked on it twice, put in 1,272 stitches, and it's currently at 1.73%. I didn't work on it for any prompt or anything, it's just Australia Day, I wanted to start it, so I did. And I started in the middle because I wasn't sure how to calculate where to start because it's such an uneven shape. And I thought if I count wrong, I could count really wrong and get it really wrong. And it was like the top of Western Australia is a long way from the top and the side. So I went, nah, no, I'm going to start in the middle. Now I'm planning on working up and then across to the left. So that's sort of, I think that's the width of the page that I started on. And I really, really hope that I have got the middle right. Fingers crossed, we will see. So I'm going to try and pull this out regularly so that, you know, I get up to the top quickly enough to know that it's going to fit and across to the left. So wish me luck with that. Alright, so that one I need to label, so we'll leave that there. Next we have a Bothy Threads kit, Alice in Wonderland, or it's called Through the Looking Glass, but I call it Alice in Wonderland. That is what it's going to look like when it is finished. And my daughter came in while I was stitching this one and she goes, "Oh, Alice in Wonderland. Oh, I'll have that on my wall when you're finished." Oh, okay. And then she comes in a few days later and goes, "Have you finished that Alice in Wonderland one yet?" And I went, "Are you kidding?" She's not much of a stitcher. She's just recently started, but she's very hit and miss. It's not a regular thing for her. It's very much I feel like it every couple of months. Yeah, so she's got no concept of how long it's going to take to finish it, especially with like nearly 200 whips. Yeah. Anyway, so that is where it is right now. And I worked on it once and put 314 stitches into it. And I did up here. So it was a Bringo call. So I think this is the one where you had to stitch on, you had to roll a dice to get the number of motifs to stitch on. And I think I rolled a 6 or something. So they're the motifs I did for Bringo. And then I also did it for Great British Bake Off. I've got this for one of the contestants on Great British Bake Off. So if you're not familiar, Great British Bake Off, I'm playing along with Jen the Caffeinated Crafter. She's re-watching an old series and she tells us every week who anyone gets a handshake, first in technical, last in technical, star baker, and who was eliminated. And you assign whips to each of the people, and then she gives you the stitch counts on what each of those things is equivalent to, and you do the stitches accordingly. So I'm using it for that, and that's a lot of fun. And I am behind on some of my challenges, obviously, because there's, you know, only so many hours in the day. And it doesn't worry me though that I am behind, because I will keep stitching even if I've written it down and that challenge is finished. It doesn't matter, I will still do the stitches even though I can't post them to the challenge. I use challenges not necessarily to you know, stay participating in the groups. It's more of a way to give me an excuse to work on the whips, because otherwise I will bypass whips because I don't feel like working on it, or something else will pique my interest and I'll want to work on that. And then I've had in the past whips that have languished for years and years and I haven't worked on them. So it's like, well, if I do all these challenges, then they have a chance of getting worked on. Alright, so this is vintage shoes. And this, I don't need to show you what it will look like when it's finished, because it is finished. It's my last finish, whatever you want to call it. There we go, vintage shoes. This I don't know, can you see all that? I don't know. I'm going to have to do it half and half, because what I can see now on my screen, I'm going to have it zoomed in. So I'm going to have to show you half. So there's one half. Right, so this was a kit from Busilla. And the copyright on it is 2004. I bought this when my daughter was born and thought, oh, I'm going to put that in her room. She's 21 and this is not her vibe at the moment, so it's probably not going to go on her wall. But there it is, finished. So to finish it, I worked on it twice and put in 1,230 stitches. I was using it for temperature stitching, so now I've had to replace that on my temperature stitching. And I used it for the January birthday pop-up in Whip Warriors. I think the prompt for that was sparkly. So this has gold thread here, and there's beads in the middle in these motifs, beads in the middle there, and sparkly threads there. So that was my sparkly, and that is a finish. And I think let me have a look. It is finish number 30 something on my countdown to 60. Finish number 35 on my countdown to 60. So yeah, I don't think I'm going to get 25 more finishes to get to the 60 before the end of the year. Initially it was for my birthday in August, but then that's cutting off a few too many months for me, so I'm doing it this year. So this is my 60th year, and as long as I get 60 this year, then I'll be happy. May not happen. Right, next is Anne Morrison from Hands Across the Sea. That is what it's going to look like when it is finished. This was a stitch along for Traditional Stitches, their 20th anniversary. As in, like most sales, everyone's probably finished it, except for me. I'm still going along. But anyway, at least I'm still stitching it. So this one I worked on twice and put in 605 stitches, and I worked over here. This one I'm doing on 25 count 2/2, so it's going to be massive. So I worked over here and then started, I think, down here on these eyelets down here. I think maybe them too, I don't know, I can't remember. Or maybe, I think I might have had those 3 done. So I did that. I can't remember if I did them last time I showed you. I don't know, who knows. I brought this down, I know that. Did the wavy bit here and then did this here, I think. So who knows, but that is it. I've got to do this in 2 bits because it is too big to show the whole thing. It's going to be massive, but anyway, this is my first sampler I ever did and had no idea about stitch counts of fabric. So, and there's the bit at the bottom that I've done. So I'm hoping this will be a finish this year. It goes quite quick. So, and I love doing the Algerian eyelets. I love them. Alright, so that is Anne Morrison. And you probably won't get 4 photos either on this one because I am rushing to get it done. Alright. This one. Nursery Rhymes 2 by Prairie Schooler. That is what it's going to look like when it is finished. And I'm working on this one, Little Bo Peep and her sheep. And it's the pattern. Oops, let me move that aside. Okay, this one I'm working on a piece of linen. I don't know what it is. Doesn't really matter. It's dark. And I worked on it once for 493 stitches, and that's all there is to see. So I just did more of the tree. And I worked on this one for Bringo, Flosstube Frenzy. No, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Right, here we go. I worked on this for Weird Place Names. 493 stitches, and I think we had to do something with a sheep on it. So there's sheep on this one. Lots of sheep on this one. So that is where I got on that one. I struggle on this fabric. Really, really struggle. It's a little bit better since I had my cataracts done, but it's still not the best. Okay, next we have Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. Alright, I've got this on eye markup now, so I can get rid of everything here except for the title page. That can all go. Oops, oh gee, on the floor. Okay, that is what it's going to look like when it is finished. This one I worked on twice, and I put in 1,275 stitches, and it's now at 9.3%. And that is what I've done so far. This is on a piece of 18 count Ada dyed by Paddock Lane Designs. I worked on this for Bringo, Flosstube Frenzy, and Down Under Diva's game of Ambling Alphabet, because A and Z. So there we go. So I'm doing this in a Cottage Garden Threads colour, I can't remember what it's called, this one, Felix, because I had quite a few skeins of this. Now I'm not going to have enough to do the whole thing, that's all I have. Well, I've got 3 more skeins, 4 skeins, but they're really short lengths, which is really annoying. I'm always having to change the floss. Oh, I wish they were longer. But anyway, because I use loop start, so I fold it in half, so that's basically all the stitches I can get out of that. Like, it's not a lot. So anyway, and when it runs out, I probably won't buy any more. I will probably switch to 310. So I don't think it's going to be that noticeably different. I haven't compared this to 310. It's probably a bit more grey, on the grey side, but yeah, who cares? I'm going to switch to 310. So there we go. So that is that one. So 9.3%. That's not bad. Not bad at all. So I imported this one into iMarkup. So I did start it on the pattern, on the paper pattern, marking off, and then I'm so glad I moved it across. Oh, hang on, before I got too much into it, because oh gosh, that would have been a nightmare. Okay, next we have Follow the Leader. Okay, why is this in here? Because I don't have it written down. Did I work on it, or is this just been left in the bag, left in my tub from last time? I don't know if I worked on this. If I did, I didn't write it down. No, I think it was just left in the tub, because I remember last time showing you the puppy and the grass. Anyway, okay, well that's another one of my whips. Dear, I don't know, I didn't write it down if I did. Last one, what's this one down here? Oh, okay, no, that's what I'm wanting. Okay, right, last one, Golfing Partners. This is an old kit, Elsa Williams. That is what it's going to look like when it is done, and I'm doing the dude at the moment, and I'm doing them on the one piece of fabric. So they give you the one piece of fabric in the kit, and you're meant to cut it in half and frame them separately, but I'm just doing them on the one piece of fabric side by side. They will each have their border around them, because I wasn't smart enough to carry it over and have a border around the two of them, because I'd already started up here and then went, oh, I know what I should have done. And I'm not into unpicking, so anyway, I believe it's going to have their own border. So I worked on this once for 430 stitches, and I worked down here. So I did, I believe that golf ball was already done. I did this golf ball, or was it the other way around? Who knows? And I worked on the border just around there, because he's sort of done except for back stitching. He is done on this half. So when I pull it out next time, I'll just extend the border up and then finish off his border. He still needs his golf club, because otherwise he's doing this funky thing with his hands. But I need to put his golf club in there, and then his back stitching, and then start his girlfriend. There we go, that's where it is right now. You probably can't see all that because I'm going to have to zoom in, which means I'm just going to get cut off. And I worked on this for my Down Under Divas Deca Whips call. So if you want to know any of the groups that I mention in the challenges that I talk about and why I stitch things for, then just let me know. Pop a comment below and I will give you that information. Alright, that is all my whips. So I'll leave this bag here for you to look at while I talk about other things. Rightio, so my January stats. I've decided this year I'm going to keep stats because I'm curious for myself how many stitches I get done each month. Alright, so for January, I worked on a total of 31 unique projects. I had 1 finish and 2 new starts. I stitched every single day in January, and my total number of stitches for the month was 22,313 stitches. Wow, amazing. I mean, one day was like 38 stitches, but it's still, I stitched on that day, so you know, that's fine. Okay, so now the only plans I'm going to go over are something that I'm going to do for the Winter Olympics. I've seen various games and challenges and things around, but none of them I really want to do because they're all introducing lots more projects to stitch on. I already have enough with my Flosstube Frenzy, my Down Under Divas, my Whip Warriors, all those games on the Bake Off that I already do, and temperature stitching, that I don't really feel the need to fit in another prompt based game where I potentially have a different project to work on every day. It's just too much. So what I've decided to do is pick 4 projects that have something to do with winter. And because the Olympics goes, I looked at the schedule, it goes for like 16 days. So I thought, okay, I'll work on each one for 4 days. Now, it won't be the only project I work on that day. It'll have to be like just a little bit of the day, because like I said, I have so much I want to be working on. I'll show you actually. Alright, I write down in my little book what I'm doing. So over here I have what the games are I play. So weekly I do Whip of Decks, Great British Bake Off, Temperature Stitching and Daily 30. My fortnightly games are Weird Places and Flosstube Frenzy. Monthly is Stitch and Seek, Ambling Through the Alphabet, Fandom and Whip Go, and then yearly is Fandom. And that doesn't also include other pop-up games and things that might come along that are in the groups that I'm already playing in, if that makes sense. Alright, so this is where I keep my Flosstube Frenzy. I have the Flosstuber and then their current project I'm using for them and how many stitches that I owe them. So Kel Stitches, I use the Anzac project, and because she only posts once a month, I'm 1,000 stitches in credit. So, you know, that's pretty cool. Kim Hollenbach, I use Gulping Partners for, and I'm 29 in credit. She has just posted, though, I noticed yesterday or overnight, another video. So I will add 100 stitches to that I need to do, and then 50 for every whip she shows that I have the same whip. The one that I'm most out of touch with, that I really need to owe a lot of stitches to, is Angel Kisses for Stitcher Mummy, 2,750 stitches. So yeah, anyway, so then all the other challenges I do, I write down what the project is. So this is Jump Into Spring, and I need to do 300 stitches on that for my temperature stitching. So it got called, or temperatures were for that project 3 days, so I need to do 300 stitches. And then like I've got here, Anne Morrison, temperature stitching and Stitch and Seek. So something on that project fitted a prompt in Stitch and Seek. So it's 100 stitches for the temperature, 200 stitches for Stitch and Seek. So once I've done them, I cross them out. Now I'm trying to, I was doing them in order, but and I was writing this on scraps of paper, and then the other night I thought, oh my gosh, no, it's just ridiculous. I'm going to put them in a notebook, and the notebook's falling apart, hence why this is hold it together. So they're all the ones that I know I need to do stitches on right now. So that's a lot. So that's what I'm saying, I'll never catch up, but I'm still going to stitch them. But what I'm trying to do is, instead of going, sorry, that's Flosstube Frenzy, instead of going in order, what I'm going to do is go through my weekly things first, then my fortnightly, then my monthly, if that makes sense. So that I'm going to try and do my Whipper Dex call as soon as I can at the start of the week. Melissa calls or pulls a new card every Sunday. So every Monday I'm going to try and do my Whipper Dex call. Then I'm going to work through my Great British Bake Off and temperature stitching. Daily 30 usually comes at the end of the week. If not, I can fit it into a prompt somewhere else, then I'll do it fortnightly. I'm pretty slack on that, but I still have got that whip I need to work on and focus on, but it's not a priority, if that makes sense. And you'll notice I didn't pull it out as Crowns of the Kingdom, and I didn't work on it in the last fortnight, so I owe that quite a few stitches now. And then I'll work through Weird Places and Flosstube Frenzy. And some of these, like Weird Places and Stitch and Seek, Ambling Through the Alphabet, they're all prompt based. So I will pick, how do I want to say it, the projects that I've got aside for Great British Bake Off and temperature stitching and Whip Go, they are the ones that I will try and fit into, if I can, the Weird Places, the Stitch and Seek and the Ambling Alphabet prompts, because they are things like stitch on something with a sheep. So I'll go to my Great British Bake Off and temperature ones first. If they don't have what suits that prompt in them, then I will go to all my other whips, if that makes sense. So that's the method in my madness. Anyway, you probably weren't interested in that at all. Right, so going back to Winter Olympics. So I found on a thing, they run for 16 days. I don't know if that's right or not, who knows. And 4 days a piece on each one. So I haven't pulled them. I might put pictures in, I might not. But I'll show them, I should show them next Flosstube, because hopefully I'm working on them by then, because I believe the Olympics starts on Thursday, the 5th. I only know that, hubby's birthday. So they are Winter Queen by Mirabilia, Snow Queen by Mirabilia, Snowman Wisdom by Sue Hillis, and Winter Montage by Pain Free Crafts. So that's my plans for Winter Olympics. I probably didn't explain that very well. I'm so sorry this is a rush video, and I'm sorry that it's not, you know, higgledy, it is higgledy-piggledy and all the rest of it. But that's me today. That's what you get. Alright, anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you got some stitches in as you were listening and looking up occasionally to see where everything was at. Anyway, I need to go and cook dinner. My family going to be starving at 6:30. Okay, until next time, happy stitching. Bye.